What's up guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a beat for Wizkid and Buju. So I already made the beat, and in this video I'll just show you how I made it, show you all the elements inside the beat. So first of all, let me play the beats, then we'll go into the breakdown. Sounds like this. Alright, so first things first, you always want to get the chord progression. I'm basically using just two simple chords, the major fourth and the major fourth seventh and the minor third seventh. So it sounds like this. So I have an piano sound from Contacts, and I'm on B major scale. So basically, the reason why I was even taking a minute to know what key I was in or to know the chord progression is because I basically always transpose from my MIDI keyboard. So I know how to play C major very well, and I know, oh, this is major fourth, this is major seventh, all that. So when I play that on my keyboard, I just transpose to whatever key I want to play in. So this is on B major. And basically, if you know a scale, you basically don't need to know every other scale. I mean, you should, but if you just want to be lazy like me, you can just use the idea of one scale and then learn on that one scale. So when you're playing other scales, because you can translate the music notes, like the 1, the 2, the 3. If you use that system, it's easy for you when you're changing scales, so you know how you're playing your chords. But guys, learn music theory. Don't be like me and be lazy. So I played this in 2 different octaves. I played this in a higher octave, and I play this in a lower octave, just so that there's a variation when I'm switching in the beats. And then I added these drums. I have this drum pattern going like this. So I just basically have a rim shot, and I layered it. But then I added another layer again to make this second part bounce. I didn't want to swing to the beats. Sometimes you don't need to add swing, but this beat I didn't have swing. Then this part, if you notice, the guitar sounds has a very weird sound to it. And I want you to guys look at something. Look over here. So if you look very well, I'm playing with the mod wheel. Sometimes when you play with the mod wheel, not the pitch, but the mod, there's pitch and the mod. The pitch controls the pitch, and the mod usually has weird effects on depending on the synth you pick. So the mod just makes it sound like a bit shaky. And if you record that, if you have a MIDI keyboard and you record that, you're going to see something like this. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. You're going to see something like this when you record that. I tried to do that on that synth, but I ended up not using the synth. But you know, it just makes it, you know, when you listen to like Wizkid and Buju type of beats, P2J I think is the person that makes a lot of their beats. You know, he knows how to do all this synth modulation stuff and makes it sound so nice. So when you're making your beats, try and mess around with your mod wheel or your pitch wheel and see the kind of effects you can get with it. It may vary depending on the synth you have. Like I was saying, I have this synth that I later didn't use, but it sounds like this. No, this is synth. Where is it at? So when you add that synth, it has this. You add that modulation to the synth. It has that. I don't know how to describe the sound, but you hear it in a lot of Wizkid or like all these kind of funky beats. They use that stuff a lot, so you want to play around with it. The only disadvantage is if you, my camera is out of focus. If you're, you know, gonna have an artist to sing on that part, it might be distracting. So you might want to think of where to add it in the beat and where not to put it. So be careful of that. Basically with any melodies in general, if you're playing melodies, be careful with melodies, because if an artist is going to sing on that beat and you have melodies going crazy, they'll be like, what do I want to say now? What can I say on this part? So think about it. Maybe if you have a part where there's no verse, or maybe the artist can't think of something to sing or to write, just put it there, just to make the beats more sweet. Then I added this arcade vocals. Look, I'm getting tired of adding arcade vocals, but sometimes it gives the vibe. Sometimes I feel like I should take out the arcade vocals. So I got this arcade vocal, and I pitched it down, stay strong, pitched it down to 12 semitones. Like I said, guys, always remember to set your key. I hear a lot of people make beats without setting the key of their vocals. If you're using something like arcade, it's easy enough for you to set the key. If you're using loops, melody, make sure you know the key so you can easily tweak the samples or the loop to make it fit the beat you're playing. So this is just the mellow. Then I added some effects to it. I added without the effects, sounds like this. So I always like adding kickstarts to like make it dark. So there's more movement to it. Then I added camera space just to like give it some weird space in there. So it's going from left to right, just to make it stay in the background more. Because some sounds you don't want everything to be out of the mix. Sometimes you just put creative effects so that it stays in the background. And I also added some more EOS reverb to give it more space. But you might send it to EQ and do a lot of stuff just to make everything fit in the mix. I've not mixed these beats yet. I'm just showing you guys how to make it. Then I have the classic spin set to it, just following the chords. You don't want to have everything playing so complex, because when everything is too complex, it's gonna be like hard for anybody to sing on it. Then the next thing, I just added the kick. The kick is just doing one thing. No, that's all the kick is in, just one note. And the next thing I have is, I didn't even use this. So like I said, there's something I do when I'm making my beats too. Sometimes I try and add my vocals, even though I don't know how to sing, just to get the feeling of how the artist will be when they actually want to sing on the beats. So sometimes I might play some melodies and I'll end up taking them out because I don't want to overproduce. You guys should always keep that in mind. Don't try and overproduce your beats, because if your beats are too overproduced, nobody's gonna want to sing on it. The beats will be nice, will be fire. I've done that mistake a lot. The beats will be fire. You played one melody that's causing chaos everywhere. So sometimes just try and vibe to your beat, sing, just even though you don't know how to sing, just vibe to it. And if you can't really vibe, something is not flowing, take out that melody. So I took out this melody, but then some percussion again, It's very simple, but this percussion actually does a lot on the beat. And the next thing, I just had some bongos playing. So I have this MIDI drum pad here that I just used to, I don't know why it's not working. Okay, I have this MIDI drum pad here that I just used to, play around to find, so I was just playing around and I found this drum bounce and I recorded it. And sometimes too, if you have a MIDI keyboard, you can play. If you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you can use your keyboard and just, so you find a nice groove, and that was what I did there. So that is spicing. Then I also added these chords. Same chord progression. I just used the choir vocal and added some effects to it. Kickstart and EOS reverb. See? So some parts that might feel empty in a bit, I just add this pads or the strings or these vocals just to make everything, cover those empty. Because sometimes your beat will just be empty and you don't know what to add. Instead of thinking of adding some weird melody, just use the same chords, find another sound, maybe like a pad, a synth, something, put it in the background, put some reverb on it, spread it out, just make it stay in the background to fill up that, that part that just feels like nothing is there. because remember you're trying to make the beats not have too much sound, but at the same time you don't want it to sound so empty. So the way to do that is by filling up the frequencies with pads, little bit of space, effects, transitions, all those little things that you add would actually make the beats sound more interesting. And also add this bass line. Sometimes the bass might be kind of distracting. So there's one trick I want to show you guys, right? So if you're using FL Studio, if you come to your settings, you will see cut itself. So if you notice, I have two bass lines going. I also have the Smith 808 and have it set to, so I set the same channel for the 808 and the VST bass, so they are playing. Anytime the 808 is playing and the bass is playing, they're going to cut themselves out. So let me show you guys what I'm saying. So if I copy this and I go to the bass pattern, so while it's playing, it's not clashing. So anytime the bass plays and the 808 is playing, one is going to cut itself out. So if I didn't have it like that, so let me say it was a different level. This is too much chaos. So if you want it to sound cleaner, just make everything cut itself. It's a very simple trick I do. So if you want to play, if you just want to fix two things to play at the same time, or you don't want people to know that, what is this guy playing? And if you want to confuse your listeners, but also make it sound nice, this is a trick. I know you can actually go out and set the sidechain and do all that complex stuff, but this is like way easier and sweeter to just do. Alright, so I had a different variation of the bass, took it down an octave, and I was taking out the beginning parts because of the other 808, so it could also play, but just add spice here and there. Then I did some rim shots. I don't think I use this pattern, but I did this cymbal sound just to give it background space. This is another background sound. From expand. And I added this in, but I didn't use it because it was clashing with the vocals. And yeah, so next thing I added this shaker from Pure Beats. It's my Studio Volume 2 because I modified it. So the shaker complements this other shaker that is here. This other shaker is from Ramon's what's the kit? Fire series Melancholia sample pack. So when the shakers are playing, right, they kind of complement themselves. So the shaker alone playing this first one. So when I add the other shaker, so it just sounds so good. Then I added some rolls here and there. I added this bass slide for transition. I also added this roll from Ramon's Melancholia drum kits. I added this clap for transition. So every time a new bar comes in, I always tend to add a clap to make it sound more, pronounced. That yes, this is a new bar, or this is a new part of the song. And I also added one more drum roll, and this other one too. Alright, so that's basically it, guys. The biggest thing too is always trying to find how to arrange the beats. If you don't arrange the beats very well, it's gonna be like problematic for the artist. So try and find the best ways. Like I said, sometimes I still go ahead and I record my vocals in there just to make sure that I have something something there. So I'll play for you guys with and without my vocals. The vocals are trash, but just listen. so you guys get the beats. Then let me play it to my vocals. I can't sing, guys. Disclaimer. But like I said, just to vibe and take out stuff. Everybody, everybody go, everybody go. I'm crazy, said I am crazy. Your body high, my baby slow, you go there, oh no. Like if I had this here, my baby slow, so if I had this nice, a clashing, I'll just take it out. Because so even still listening with the vocal, you can think of, oh, something is missing. I can fill in that empty space. It can be whatever. It can be like a string. It can be like a mallet. Whatever to just fill in that. But then again, too, if an artist has a different vibe, you know, it might still clash with what they're singing. So you always want to give the artist enough room. Me, I always tend to want to work with artists one-on-one, so that if it actually makes more sense when I'm working with them. So I know, oh, they don't like that sound, oh, they like that sound. Some people are so good enough that they don't even need to take anything out. They'll just give it to an artist and the artist will vibe to it. So it still comes down to practicing more, practice more, making more beats, you know, upload your beats, work with people. You know, when you work with people, you also improve. Catch you guys on the next one. Let me know in the comment section what you want to see next.